Hi, this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, and so excited for our interview today, you guys. I have an amazing woman that I have been working with, and she just has such a cool story and a cool journey, and she was willing to pop on and share her real story with you today. And I know that there is going to be so much overlap with her experience and her path with probably what you're experiencing too. And that's why it's so meaningful when you guys decide to share just what has it been like for you, your life and your path. Because so many of things that we think, oh, I'm the only one. Like I, for so long, thought I was my own personal brand of crazy and that nobody else was like this. So I didn't say anything because nobody would understand because nobody's like this. And then once I shared my story, it was like, oh, okay, I guess other people feel this way. So for those of you who are new, welcome to this channel. I help women to be free from food crazies like binge eating, bulimia. It's a habit-based approach. This is not like, hey, we're addicted to anything or we have any sort of disorder. We're just like, hey, look at that. We eat a lot of stuff when we don't want to. Let's learn how to stop doing that. So this is going to be the real story of my guest today. So we are going to bring her on. And hello, welcome to the show. So happy to have you here. We're going to call her Coach. Hey, Coach.
Hey.
Okay, so first of all, let's address the elephant in the room.
Or the monkey.
Which is the monkey on your face. So this is a fun way that we decided to be able to do this interview today. And wouldn't it be funny if we didn't tell them till the end why there was a monkey on your face? But we'll tell you up front. Okay, so Coach, tell us a little bit about why we have decided to do the interview this way with this lovely floating monkey face in front of your face.
Well, Lydia. Hi, everybody. My name is Coach for today, and I am a coach. So this is the reason why you can't see me. And Lydia and I have a great rapport with one another, and we can laugh about it now. But in reality, me being, I guess we'll just call it a health coach, me being a health coach, it puts me at risk for being seen, because who wants to get help from someone who has all these issues? They are supposed to have it all together. They're supposed to have it together all the time. And I don't. Or actually, the chatter, we'll get into that. I actually do now. I'm feeling so amazing only 7 weeks after being in your program. I mean, but getting back to what you were talking about with me not being able to show my face, this nasty habit affects, it just takes no prisoners. It can be whoever. But the type of coach I am does not help with the particular task at hand, which is taking care of your nasty binge habit. It's not your fault. Something happened. It's not your fault, and this is the first place to go. And that's why I'm here. This is important for everyone to hear today. This is the first place to go.
I love that. That's beautiful. And thank you so much for being willing to share. And we're going to get into it. And I'm so excited to hear more about your path. And, something that comes up is I am amazed. Like this sort of like binge eating, bulimia, like compulsive eating, food addiction, whatever you want to call it, like impacts so many different women from all walks of life. But something that I see come up over and over, and I've coached so many women like this, are women who on the outside, to how the world sees them, have careers in fitness or in health. Like, I have coached models, right? These skinny supermodels that everyone thinks that like has it all together. They have a binge eating habit. I have coached personal trainers who have a very public presence of like, look at my abs. I have coached health coaches. I have coached, dietitians, psychologists. Like there are so many powerful, amazing women out there that help other women. I've coached other women who coach other women about eating disorders. Like, and it creates this real dissonance. Like that's something that comes up all the time is these women that tell me like, I feel so out of integrity. I feel like such a hypocrite because I am preaching all of this. And then in the privacy of my own home and in secret, I'm eating thousands and thousands of like the kinds of foods that I would never tell anyone to eat, like, so it's really interesting how that comes up so much. So tell us a little bit, like for you, Coach, like when you realized that this was an issue for you, like tell us a little bit about your story and how this habit developed for you and kind of how you were feeling in like the early stages of, wow, like what's going on.
Sure. Okay, so I have been a vegetarian. I would say it's probably about 11 years. And I, just from the time I was a kid, my mom, she would have to, like, if we were having meat, she would have to, if it was like chicken, she would always have to make it like in little pieces for me. Nothing could be on the bone. So I think I was just more or less born a vegetarian. I just never gravitated to meat, and I was fine with that. But then, as culture, especially in the United States, is changing into let's clean it up, let's get clean, like this clean eating movement, as I became an adult, I started researching more and more about health. And first it was a vegetarian. And then the world started getting smaller and smaller because then it was like, no, you can't be just a vegetarian. You're going to eliminate some more things. I have a good idea. You can be a vegan. So now you can not only be a vegan, you can be a gluten-free vegan. On top of that, you can be a there were so many titles I had eventually. It was off the hook.
All the
Now,
letters after your name.
right, right. So as my world of foods that I could and could not have were getting smaller and smaller, I noticed my rigidity around food. In the meantime, though, Lydia, it was a situation where people look up to me. I am a boss when it comes to telling people, not telling people, but just recommending not what foods to eat, but what feels good for them. And so people, they call me, they text me, they can't wait to tell me how great they're doing and some changes that they've made. So meanwhile, I'm putting on a big face and I'm smiling and I'm so excited for them. But then there's me who's in the corner eating the very thing I told other people not to eat. So this was all happening at the same time. And I'm sure you can understand why the whole identity, shame, all that, the crisis began and continued for quite a while.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit, like, what would a typical binge look like for you? Like, what was that surrounding? Like, what were the reasons that you felt you were doing it? Like, what was the sort of cycle that you were in?
So basically, I didn't realize it at the time, but I was very jealous of people who, I put everything in air quotes, who got to have treats, who got to reward themselves. So they would come out of Starbucks and have this amazing cup of beauty with whipped cream and just drizzle of gorgeousness, and then I would be looking at them and I would almost catch myself squinting, like hoping to pierce them, like, bzz, like you have no idea how bad that is for you. But meanwhile I was like, damn, I wish I was having some of that. But I wouldn't admit that to myself. So outwardly I was having my, color coded containers and everything, and my snack was like a date. Like a date. Like, okay. Like, it just wasn't that thrilling, but so it started getting worse and worse. And it was this two different people. And I managed, when I came to you, I realized that I was using food as not only a numbing agent, but as a as a method of sleep. I had this bizarre, I'm laughing at it now because Lydia, like I see myself so differently already. And I just have to thank you in the middle of this. But anyways, so like I would get off work and I would like have these plans, like they were pre-planned binges. And my favorite was bananas with tons of maple syrup. And then on top of that, I would put like oats, and I would put like anything sugary possible. Like I would break up kind bars and sprinkle it like it didn't even make sense. It was this sugar, like, and it would like make my veins like rise. Like I couldn't wait to get it. And the reason behind that was because I had a lot going on in my life that I wanted to numb, and I came to expect the numbing, and I thought that that was the best way to get throughout the course of the day. And I realized that I didn't want to do that anymore. And talking about what happened to me when I was 5 years old, or talking about my past, or if someone hurt my feelings, or if I had a shitty day, that's not addressing the habit. It's just not. So I was like, well, what the hell? Like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, I'm so stuck. Like, I'm a coach. I help people. And I'm doing something that's really, really making me uncomfortable, that is so untrue to myself and the way I want to feel in this world. And I don't want to be that way. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I was just paralyzed.
What were the sorts of thoughts for you, coach? Like, leading up to, like, the thoughts and feelings leading up to the binge, during the binge, after the binge, like what sorts of ideas or thoughts or feelings were kind of at you?
People are going to find you out. You are a fraud. Um, you are going to be a fat ass. Fat asses don't care about themselves. You are poisoning your body with sugar and with all of these chemicals and all these packaged materials, like packaged foods, which we all know packaged foods are terrible, like they're the worst ever. So it's like, so these were some of the things that were going through my mind. On top of that, there were even more serious things that were going through my mind, which were, you have a 20-year-old daughter. You better get your ass in gear and be a role model for your kid, because this has gone too far. So that was really, that was the big one, Lydia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I know that that is such a common through line of the guilt that we put on ourselves, right? It's like, people are looking to me, people are depending on me. If I can't get this into check, how can I expect anyone? Like, there's just all of these layers. I have so many women that say, yeah, the binging is horrible, but the days or weeks afterwards of just mentally beating yourself up and feeling all of this shame, like, that impacts your life so much. And if you are willing to share, coach, like, those were the feelings, right? That's what you were actually doing. But how did this impact your life? Like, what were the costs for you, like mentally, emotionally, socially? Like, why was this something that you had to fix for you? How did it impact you?
It was more than a part-time job for me to be researching how to find the best diet, how to stop doing something that I didn't want to do. I was eliminating the very closest people in my life, because I'm not the type of person who seeks help from other people. I'm the helper. And I've noticed in this program that so many of the women, they're the helpers too. And it's okay to raise your hand and say enough is enough. You have to, because we've got one chance at this. And it's not living. You're trapped. You are in body jail. You are caught up in these thoughts that race, these racing thoughts about food, and how you are completely an uncontrollable mess. And you can't get out of your head. But what you've got to realize, and this is what I really need people to hear today, you are being selfish. I want people to understand that they're being selfish by continuing to do this. And that's really hard to swallow. Because if you can't be your best self and figure out that you always have a choice of doing whatever you want, whenever you want, you are in for a life that is going to be so unfulfilling, and you deserve more. You do.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And for you, Coach, like, what were your fears? Like, if you couldn't figure this out, like, for, the things that you've tried, and like, what were your fears would happen if you weren't able to find a solution to this?
I don't think that I could have continued with my business with integrity. I don't think that I would have been able to fully experience joy again, Lydia, just joy. Like I was traveling with Tupperware containers in my bag. I couldn't be a part of other people's events. Like, food is good. It's okay to like food. It doesn't make you bad. Think about the times that you go out to dinner and your kids have a nice meal, your husband has a nice meal, whoever it is, if you're out with girlfriends, whatever your situation, and for whatever reason, you're stuck eating like lettuce. Like, what the hell is that? That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. Why should you be punished? Because you know what you're going to do when you get home. You need to get clear. I mean, it's a big deal. This stuff is a really big deal.
Absolutely. And I know, like, it impacts everything, right? Like, percentage wise for you, Coach, how much of your mental energy during the day was spent on thinking about binging, thinking about not binging, thinking about eating perfectly, thinking just like that food brain stuff? What was your percentage before you started with me?
I would have to say 75%. And right now, since I'm only 7 weeks in, I almost, like, I don't do drugs or anything, but I almost feel high. Like, I just want to like run down the street and like get like that Bitmoji and be like, I'm back. Like, like, it feels so good. And I like, and that's another thing I want to address, is that so many people still don't know this about me. And so like people are like, boy, you're happy today. And I am. Like, people probably think I'm like, I don't know, like, who knows, what, I don't care what they think I'm doing, but I'm like, I just even look in the mirror, which that was like a joke a while ago, but I look in the mirror and I like catch myself smiling and my eyes are bright, and I'm so thankful. I'm just so grateful.
Yay. It's such a beautiful thing. I love it. This is what we do. This is so great.
I know.
Yeah. And I mean, so kind of your journey here. I know that, you and I have been working together for about 7 weeks, but I know that this has been a longer journey that you've been trying to find a solution for, like, how do we fix this? So what sorts of things did you try that didn't work what has been like the financial cost of trying to figure this out for you, or just maintaining this habit? Like, I think that's something that a lot of times we don't want to look at, right? Like what the, like even like the costs are, but the financial cost too. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, what was your journey and what was the cost of that?
Sure. Well, just to reiterate, I did not have, um, I did not experience any of this until 3 years ago. And for me, the key, or the beginning of it, was dieting to like eliminate things that I didn't like. I was doing things because I felt like I needed to get the bod, So this for me has been going on for 3 years. But what I know for sure with being in the group is that it doesn't even matter how long it's been going through. You've been going through it. You could have been going through this for like for however long. When you understand these principles, it's like a switch, like a light bulb moment. I mean, there's a process of it, but it's the coolest thing. So yeah, in regards to cost, I actually I can't even imagine. I'm laughing because I'm so disgusted at how much. In the past 3 years, I spent $3,600 on a coach who was more of like a health coach, those types of coaches that are like, what are your limiting beliefs? What, like, what do you really want to go after? Like, and I'm not making fun of this stuff. This stuff is cool. Like, this is awesome. But like, and just what do you see for yourself? That's the kind of coaching there. I also spent $2,000 on another person because another coach would have been able to deliver the message differently for me. When, mind you, this is binge eating. So we would go over food, and we would go over, this is what they say, emotional eating, which when I came to you, that's what I wanted to call it. I wanted to dress it up nice and fancy. Not as I don't want to say serious, but binging, scared of saying it for what it was. And then, so $2,000 there. And then I spent $1,800 on this program that was like a group of people, and we were just all gonna get it together and be each other's buddies, and it was for however long. And like I said, these connections that you make with people are great. Once again, this does not address the binging. On top of that, Lydia, $500 in Amazon reading materials about the best, like that. Once again, sugar's the bastard. You should never have sugar. Grains stink. Well, if grains stink and I'm a vegan, we're getting pretty slim. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then we're doing like emotional eating books, which are awesome. That's fine. But once again, Lydia, we have not addressed the binging. So yeah, and I have plenty more. I mean, we could also include the $500 Vitamix, that was going to solve everything. Followed by the juicer, that was $300. Followed by all the memberships to the gym. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't stopping. But none of it addressed the issue at hand. And I still have all my emotional problems, and I'm cracking up about them. Like, they're all going to be dealt with. They're all there. I don't need binging on top.
Yeah. So if you just took a stab at it, like, how much did you invest in things that didn't work for the thing that you were looking to solve, right? Which was the binging. What would you guess?
I'm going to go with $13,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is in 3 years.
Yeah. So a lot of times, looking at, what has the financial cost been of not only like supporting the habit, but like trying to, find solutions for it. And then you start thinking about like, if you don't get help, right? That was in 3 years.
Yes.
So what happens in the next 3 years and the next 10 years? You know what I mean? Like it's something that sometimes people don't realize how expensive it is to just be, but I get it. Like, I know that desperation of like, just tell me what to do. I want to be done with this. Somebody just tell me what to do to make it stop, you know? So I just want to applaud you for how hard you tried. I mean, coach, like you did so much stuff. And like you said, lots of good things came from that. But all this, you know, personal development, you know, all those sorts of things, they're wonderful things. Therapy, it's a wonderful thing. But getting help that doesn't help the thing you're getting help for. That was a complicated way to say it.
But I got you. I totally got it.
You know? So there we go, right? Any other like big costs that were just real reasons why you just felt like you had to change this? Like just ways that was impacting your life. Anything else that comes to your mind that was important that you wanted to mention today?
Just the whole idea of freedom, the whole idea, Lydia, I wake up now and I just like the weight on my chest isn't there anymore. And I can breathe in and breathe out. And I don't have to worry about what's going to happen at that time of day, that like the time of day where I'm going to medicate myself and eat my problems away, or I'm not worried about it like clubbing me over the head from behind and that I'm going to do it again either, because anything can happen at any time. I'm not here saying that it could never happen to me again. I'm not saying that at all. I am not afraid. I'm not afraid. What? I mean, that is so cool. I'm not afraid of myself, Lydia. That's a big one. Like that was just like, I'm not afraid of me.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Let's talk about that. Okay, so coach, break down for us, like since we've been in touch, since you decided to, you know, partner with me and we've been working together, like what is your journey been like? Like what have kind of been the insights along the way? What's changed for you? What are some things that you feel and do or don't do now that are just like miracles to you compared to yourself when you first started? So tell us a little bit about that journey of freedom.
Yeah. So when I first started working with you, I learned just the general principles about, you know, stop, stare at it, call it out. What is the chatter saying? Isn't that interesting? Like for a living right now, isn't that interesting? Is probably something that I'm constantly. I mean, like I think I'm going to do it for the rest of my life in the way of. And it's so funny. I know I'm talking in half sentences. I'm just sort of like really soaking in my happiness right now. Like it's just so cool because in the beginning, it would be that time of day and my hands would start to sweat. I'd feel like I had to put on more deodorant because I knew it was waiting downstairs and I knew what I could do. And so I would say to myself, I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I remember that I was like, okay, well, why don't I make my little surprise, my banana syrup, oats syrup, like whatever, chocolate, whatever. Why don't I make it and see what happens? And I had this moment where I said to myself, if this is your treat and you love this the way you say you love it, you better start paying attention to it. You better enjoy every damn bite. And I was like, no, like that other part of me, the chatter was like, like I was like two different people, like in your YouTube videos. I was like, no, yes. And it was like, I did. And this was even with my hands shaking because I don't know about other women, but binging for me was very quick. It was quick to the point where it was like I couldn't sometimes even like swallow all of it. And I think that like in the way of like I could swallow it, but there'd be like lumps in my throat of it because the amount of food that I was taking, I was like not even like human. It was like a cartoon that was like in fast motion. Like, And I'm not laughing. I am laughing at it because I don't even like, anyways. So I was like, all right, girl, let's do it. Let's sit down and let's have your banana surprise. And so I did. I started to enjoy it. And then I went fast again. I went really fast. And then it was like, and then I got something else. And then it was like, we went sweet, we went salty, we went sweet. And then I was like, oh my God, I screwed up. This is back to square one. You stink. Like, and I remember sending you a Marco Polo and I was like bawling. And I was like, Lydia, I can't go back to square one. I don't want to be at square one. And then you told me it's just data. We've collected more data. And so then I was like, you know what? She's right. Like, I know more now than I did the first day in this program. Like, so that was it. So that's when like, it was sort of like, all right, I know that I'm never going to be as worse off as my day one. So let's try it again. So then that like terrible time came. And I was like, Kim, you can have whatever you want, whenever you want. And then it was like, well, am I going to make it again? Or what am I going to do? And the chatter was like, yeah, you're going to make it. You deserve to have that. And I was like, well, I mean, I know I could have it because anything's possible for me now. So I think I want some dark chocolate right now and we'll see where it goes. So I had a couple pieces of dark chocolate and I didn't speed it up. And I put it down. And I got that I'm, I got that anxious feeling. Then I was like, well, what are you going to do now? And it was like, well, I don't know. Like it started losing its luster.
Yeah.
Like, because it just wasn't as thrilling. And then I was like, well, now what am I going to do? Like, this stinks. Like, this is like my jam. Like, this time is my jam. Like, what am I going to do? You deserve a reward. Like, and so you know what, Lydia? I was really uncomfortable for a few minutes. And I didn't try to go on a walk. And I didn't try to do laundry. And I didn't try to call a friend. I just sat there and pouted. I just sat there with it. And that discomfort was the discomfort that I had been dealing with for 3 years. But you know what? It passed. And it wasn't even that long. And once it passed, I was like, all right, well, I got to go do something else now. But in the meantime, though, I was like a little bit like, all right. Like I was kind of like, I didn't want to get overly pumped, but that time, that bad time for me was gone. And so when I would go to bed and when I would send you Marco Polos, I would explain to you what was happening. And you always kept your cool with me. Like you always kept your cool. And it was like you would celebrate with me, but it wasn't like blow horns and like it wasn't like that, because that's not what this is about. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want. You are not out of control. You're not. You're not. You're uncomfortable.
It's a great distinction. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. So with that journey kind of along the way, like where you're at now,
Mm-hmm.
for you, Coach, how do you feel different now than you did when you started?
Right now, I'm in a process of binging is not occurring to me right now. And I have to let you guys know something. When I would watch your videos and the people interviewed, I was like, liar. Like, there's no way. like it's just not possible. But right now and throughout, I would say like second, third, and fourth weeks, came more body image stuff for me, which I definitely want to get into a little bit. So I remember asking you, Lydia, what are you supposed to wear? Like when you're going through this process, like, and I saw that you did a video on it, and that it was more or less like, well, you could wear clothes that are 4 sizes too small. They might not be comfortable, but you can wear them. Now, and I'm sure everyone wants to know, how much were you gaining? How much were you losing? How much? And my answer to you, my honest, I swear on my children who are my world, I have not weighed myself. I can't. I'm not there right now. A scale right now is not serving me. Will it serve me someday? Maybe. Maybe. It might. It's not serving me right now. In the way of clothes, my clothes are still fitting me from when I started your program, but I believe that yoga pants should be instilled as like the pants of the nation. I hope athleisure is always the coolest style ever. Yeah. But I was bumping up, the chatter was bumping up against a lot of body image stuff about the Michelin Man, which that's what I want to talk about next for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And let's go into that a little bit, because the neat thing is, you can tell me a little bit about how this worked for you. But in your journey, coach, like, I know that, yeah, of course, there's the binge eating. Like, let's take care of that. Like, that's no fun, right? But then once that's kind of like, okay, so like the fear's melting away, you know what to do. Like, okay, but then there's other stuff, right? So we address lots of different things, right? So like, of course I'm going to help you to stop binge eating. Awesome. But then I also want to help you to stop getting sucked back into the things that get you to binge eat again. You know what I mean? So it's like we're poking holes in all sorts of different parts of the cycle. So you can really just be free and like live your life and not have to like control anything, just like, just live how you want to. So for you, tell us a little bit about how the body image issue came in with, and how you applied these principles. Kind of what was your experience in that kind of that next phase of how you were, taking this sort of freedom and running with it.
Right. So basically for me, I think that a big part of the reason that I've only binged once in 7 weeks, which I do not look at that as triumphant in a way comparatively to other women who have maybe binged 50, like it's not a better or worse than thing. And that's a little bit difficult to get over, the keeping track kind of thing. But you have knowledge, so you're good. It's all forward progress. But what started happening to me was I decided to have substantial meals. So like I wasn't grazing as much. Like I was getting my hunger and fullness cues, those were in order, and eating slowly and paying attention. And so I started to have, and I don't know, they obviously weren't true, but they were like these images of me becoming like the Hulk, and I was going to like explode out of my clothes. And they would come like from nowhere. Like I was like, my stomach looks like I'm going to have a baby tomorrow. Like, and I was like, that's not true. Like the chatter was saying like, you're getting fatter. You are getting fatter. You do not have to listen to this. It was restriction chatter. And that was coming in. And it was like, you don't have to do this, Kim. We can just all hands on deck. You can do what you know best. And you can go back to this box type living and we're good. No more Hulk feelings, no more Michelin Man feelings, and it was something I was butting up against. And I know that I Marco Polo'd you about it a few times. And your method of teaching with laughter and really separating the chatter is what separates you from other people. And I appreciate you because I have not laughed so much in a really long time. I forgot what my laugh even sounded like. So once I realized what a ridiculous feeling it is for me to think that I am becoming a green monster man, whatever he was, or a white marshmallow Michelin guy, once I realized the ridiculousness of that, like, that's what separated it. And that's what I needed.
Yeah. And how has that changed kind of your perspective of like the work that we've done together, your perspective of like the world and weight and women, and it's like now that you look at the world kind of through these new eyes, where you've really been changing your brain, right? Like you've been changing the way you think about things. Like what have you noticed that's come up for you that it's like, oh wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting, right?
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm pumped to talk about this because I'm a coach. This gets me excited. So what's really cool is that uh, if I could just encourage anyone to really try to start following women on social media that embrace a health at every size. Women who embrace themselves for whoever they are, however they look. I am not suggesting that you follow a 500-pound, you know what I mean? Like, this is not what health at every size is. I think that the restrictors that may be watching this, because I was one of them, thought, ew, I am not going to look at something like that. It's gross. That's gross. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed right now for what I'm saying, but I need to say it because I want to reach people that are where I was such a short time ago. They need to hear this. They're not gross. They have more freedom than some of those Fitspo people that you are following will ever have. Please know that. Please know. You are allowed to have goals of being healthy, and like, healthy is just such a it's a beautiful term but an icky term at the same time, like, you looking at women's bodies, if you find someone that is your size or slightly larger and you start following them and you start seeing how rich their life is and how fulfilled they are and how they can wear the coolest clothes and really amazing makeup and they can rock a heel like nobody's business. Like, that is so badass. Like, that is really cool. And to know that I can just be part of that now is really, I feel so honored to be part of that now, because I was following people who really restricted, and that's all that they did, because it was all about their body and how they looked. And I know I'll never go back to it, because it's just insidious. It's just so awful. Like, I was watching a commercial the other night for a light beer. And it was like these young people, and the girls were so skinny. They had no muscle tone. And it was really hard for me to watch. And the reason why is because that's what we're selling. We sell light, Lydia. And it's almost like, if you want to get a date, if you want to be with the cool crowd, then you better drink light beer, And then they had a salad at dinner, of course, like, and that's not what this is about. And people really need to start paying attention to this and taking a stand. And if you don't respect your own body enough right now, please respect younger children, whether they're yours, whether you're an aunt, a neighbor, This needs to stop. And it feels so good that I am on the other side of this right now. And I know I'm crying, but what I'm crying is from the release. Like, I'm a ninja now. I am a ninja warrior. I am so badass. And you will see my face one day. You will.
I love that. All of that is so beautiful. And for anyone who just like, we live in an interesting age where we have this world which is strange in a lot of ways, like the things that we promote, just like we essentially promote anorexia for all. Like that's what our culture promotes. And there's that side of it. But there's also the side of it where we also live in this world where in so many ways we get to create our world. Like we get to follow and unfollow a lot of the images that come into our world. And it can make you feel like the whole world is that way. I remember when I first learned about like being okay with your body and that bodies can be different shapes and that it isn't all just like the designer, well, I'm going to control what I look like by how I don't eat.
Yeah.
When that first came into my world, I was like, oh, that's a thing? Oh, there's this one person that does that? Oh, wait, no, there's a whole community. So for anyone listening to this, know, like the ways that all the messages that make you feel terrible about your body, that make you feel like you have to restrict, that are creating, perhaps an eating disorder in your life, that there's us, like we don't think that way, right? Like there are so many people who are free from having to buy into and care about that. You just need to find them. So here's a good place. Hello, we have an amazing Facebook group. Like there's so many great voices out there. And if you look for them, you'll find them. And this is a place to start. So I love that banner of just hope, right?
Yes, it is. Oh my goodness, it is. And power. I want to talk about power for a second.
Yeah.
And how I am one empowered woman right now. The power of my finger, my finger, my thumb to unfollow and to just be like, bam. And the power of preference, Lydia. This is a really big, I keep saying this is a really big deal too. When these principles start resonating, when you come across something that is restrictive chatter, and it starts restrictive chatter, or you see something, it's going to start up again. And when you know the difference, that it's almost like, good for you. I hope this works for you, person I've been following for however many years. I wish you the best. Salute. But I need to keep it moving here in this direction. It keeps getting more and more and more power and more power. Like, you can do whatever you want, whenever you want. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, really? You can. It's true. Like, it just gets better and better. It just gets better and better and better. Like, I feel like a coach right now.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, right? It's so interesting. My friend posted something the other day that just had the caption that every woman's fantasy is to just do whatever she wants. And I'm like, and you can just do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be your fantasy. Like you literally can just do that. But a lot of times we just feel stuck in that cycle. And I know how hard it can feel. I just want to give everyone so much hope. And in fact, I'm interested, I would like to ask you about this, Coach, is for you, like you had seen my videos, right? And like you had probably, gotten my ebook, like all that sort of thing. Like for you, why was it important for you to partner with me, like to have help, to join my program? Like, why was that a step that was essential for you?
Well, I got your ebook. I found you on YouTube. I'm sure that I had done a binge search. It was probably like in there as saved, like on YouTube. And I saw your ridiculousness, like your tribal face of like, whoo, whoo, like it just was like these two different parts of you, and you showing the different parts of you. And me thinking like, well, could there be different parts of me? Like, could I separate this? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I got to talk about what happened to me when I was 5 years old again. Maybe that's going to stop. You know, that's not going to stop it. So when I did that, and then I got the audio, which this is like something like I I'm totally plugging this right now. The audio of Brain Over Binge with you being the narrator, that's how you got in my ear.
Oh,
So um I love that like that's how I got to know you. And that's such a great step. If someone ever wants to get your audio, um, you can listen to it. You can listen to it and no one else has to hear it. You can put your own ears on. You don't have to buy the book and have the book sitting out for your husband to find it if you haven't told your husband. You can keep it to yourself and you can just let Lydia speak to you for a while. And I started, at first, I thought the principles were very emotionless. Like, I was like, how could they possibly be saying this? How could they be so, like, incompassionate? Like, what kind of crap is this? Like, she seemed funny enough. But no, you just have to keep going. You just have to listen. And now I don't remember what we were talking about. Oh, yeah. Okay.
yes,
So,
the journey of why you decided that you wanted that individual help, like why coaching was important for you.
yeah. So it was just that it was this new way. It was this way that I hadn't tried yet. And I am science based. As much as I'm emotional, I'm also science based too. So this whole like neural pathway action was like kind of cool. Like this, like paving new neural pathways and understanding that what you have is a habit. You have a nasty habit. This is what you have. You can change this habit. As a matter of fact, right now, I'm dealing with this with gum right now, with my gum obsession. I look like I'm dipping and packing. Like I'm like, I got this like wad of like nonsense on the side of my, because I almost tried to use it as replacement for when I have like, I would chew a lot of ice at work when I was frustrated, these things we do. But guess what? I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I ran out of gum the other day and I felt that surging in my veins. Like the chatter was like, what the hell are you going to do? You don't have any gum. And then I was like, oh, I don't have any gum. You got to go get more gum. You got to get more gum now. You're not going to be able to make it through the rest of this day without gum, 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 gum. And then I was like, Kim, you are not going to have a more successful day by rummaging through another 20 pieces of gum. You can get gum at a different time. And I was being a nice parent and I was pissed. And then I let the feeling pass because Lydia, it passes. It's uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable. It will pass. Like Amy Johnson says, it's just the weather.
Absolutely. And what a beautiful journey, right? What a beautiful journey. But knowing all that, and like, it's like you saw the videos and you listened to the audiobook, and all of these are great resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for you, what do you feel like made such a difference in this last step? Because I know, like, do you feel like in the past 7 weeks
Mm-hmm.
that like the impact there, what's made it so magnified for you?
The repetition. Your program doesn't have to have a million steps. Like, see step 2, maybe go to A, B, hold on a minute, go down to 45. Like, it's not like that. It is a very straightforward approach. You learn the steps, and then there's stuff that you build upon, but the steps don't ever change, guys. So I call out chatter on everything. I call out chatter on thinking that I did something to someone at work that made them mad. Like, and then the chatter's like, you must have made them mad. That's why they didn't talk to you. And then my U brain is like, no, they were busy. like I call out chatter all the time. And it's just these principles will be with me forever, forever.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, coach, these are important words. Like, really what this is about, at least for me, right? I'm the one doing this, so it can be about whatever I want it to be, right? So, but for me, I see all of these amazing, strong, powerful women that have so much that they want to do in the world and so much that they're already doing, but they're exhausted. Like you said, 75% of your mental bandwidth a day was toward this and the eating and the secrets and so really how I see it is I am freeing these legions of women to not be in captivity anymore to this habit. Like, learn that there's nothing wrong with you. You've just got a habit. This is how you overcome it. This is what works. Okay, be free, go do your thing. And I know for you, coach, you have so many great things that you're doing in the world. And I love seeing you doing them at full capacity. Like, that is so fun to see. So for you, I mean, this is your time. This is your story. Is there anything else that you want to say or any sort of advice that you would want to give those who are, maybe a little farther back on the path that are still wondering, like, what can I do?
I think that people need to set up a call with you. They need to set up a call with you, and then they can make an informed decision after that. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, so you can say it's not a good fit. It might not be a good fit for that person. For someone that binges, I actually don't understand at this point how that could ever be, that it wouldn't be a good fit. But hey, what do you have to lose? You've lost everything else.
Awesome. 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 Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing who you are. I'm so happy for you. Like, it's so fun for me. Like, and I know that we have so much fun together, right? That's another thing I think people need to understand. Like, sometimes, like, the process to recovery and like it feels so heavy and it feels like so like dull and like, oh, when can I just be done with this so I can start living my life? And like, I don't know how you felt about it, coach, but like, we've been living our lives the whole time and we've just been having a lot of fun together. Like, it's just been great.
Yeah. I mean, belly laughing sometimes at myself, like belly and all, like, like whatever. And it seems like so ridiculous in the beginning. Like, I will never laugh. Like, I was almost like, this is not a funny matter to me. And now all I can do is laugh at the ridiculousness. Like, this is just such a good way. It's the best. Oh my gosh. Whew. So good.
Yes. Love it. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. Just so people know where they can go. Like, I know that people will be watching this and be like, okay, so how do I call Lydia, right? So if you go to lydiawente.com, so LYDIAWENTE /apply, the spots fill up. I do free sessions right now, like free 45-minute, like, let's just see if it's a good fit. Let's talk to you. Let's get you down the road. That first step to recovery. They fill up really fast. So if there are no openings, you can go, there's a form underneath to be put on the waiting list. And then I'll shoot you an email when there are more openings and you can hopefully snag one. Because I know there's so much need and I'm trying to get to everyone and it's so amazing to hear all of your stories. And I love that we've been able to hear from you, coach, and just hear your story and more to come, right? Like, you've got the rest of your life of just like, let's just be more and more free. And it's the gift that keeps on giving. And like you said, these principles apply to everything. So I love it. Anything else on your mind before we pop off for today?
No, I'm so long-winded. I can't even imagine that I would ever say no. I don't have anything else to say, but I'm good.
All right. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on. Thank you guys for listening. And I want to say that it is so possible for you. Like, the chatter will probably come up for you right now and be like, oh, well, this and this and this are reasons why that won't work for me. But it's like, okay, isn't that interesting? So what are you going to do? Are you just not going to do anything? Or do you want to end this in your life? Like, do you want to, find a solution? And if so, like, get in touch and be in this community. And we have an amazing Facebook group. If you go to lydialifestyle.com, there's just a little link there. You can go and be with thousands of other women who are all on this journey together. And it's a fun place to be. So this is Coach and Lydia, the lifestyle coach, signing off. Mwah.